In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about a needle-shadowed BFF, annoying little sisters, and questioning reality in our discussion of Burn the Negative by Josh Winning. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult and sometimes other books, series, authors, voice actors, and illustrators that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire. And today we're going to discuss Burn the Negative by Josh Winning.
Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back. If you haven't done this, you want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up. It's fine. Today's Friday the 13th day of recording, Claire.
It is. Isn't it exciting? I love Friday the 13th. I love
Me
the
too. Look
idea
at my
of
shirt.
Friday the 13th.
Look at my shirt that you can see and our Patreon members can see.
Ooh, nice. I don't even think I'm going to describe it because you've got to go and join our Patreon to go and see it. Oh, nice detailing. Very nice. Very nice.
It's good
Mine's
stuff.
more classic.
Yes. I like yours. I like the colors of yours. Yeah.
I'm very excited for this one.
Me too.
And it's another nope.
Yes, it's a nope. It's definitely a nope. It's 1000% a nope. Just nope all of it.
Going to a burning building. Nope.
Nope.
Go to LA. Nope.
Nope.
Do we have any background information for this one that doesn't require noping out?
Yes. I read a really great interview with the Los Angeles Public Library, and like all of the questions and answers were fantastic. So I can't wait until we get to talk to Josh Winning and ask him our own fantastic questions. But the one that I pulled from this interview is, how did the novel evolve and change as you wrote and revised it? Are there any characters or scenes that were lost in the process that you wish you had made it to the published version? And his response is, I write quite short first drafts, so the revisions were all about going deeper into Laura's backstory and fleshing out her relationship with her mom. Also, and this is the part that I liked the most, a lot of my beta readers hated Amy, capital H, capital A, which surprised him, he says.
Really?
So he tried to soften her a little bit and show her vulnerable side.
Sorry, Josh, that didn't work.
Failed. You failed. Amy's the worst. Amy's the worst, but you know we love it,
Amy.
but she's the worst.
Spoilers, we hate Amy.
Spoilers, she's the literal worst. So he goes on to say, there wasn't really anything lost along the way aside from a final scene I never liked anyway. And also, one character originally made a surprise reappearance at the climax, but I'll leave you guessing who. So now I'm curious.
Oh. Now, when he says original character, does he mean original guest house movie character? Because
it's hard to say. There's a lot of original characters. There's a lot of layers to this book. So it's hard to say.
Well, let's dive into the summary.
Yes. Actually, we should do initial thoughts first because we always have initial thoughts.
I mean, do you have any initial thoughts, then summary, and then because that we need some speculation.
You. Yes. Yes. So I just want to say that all of our favorite authors really loved this one and were fangirling about it on social media, and that's how I found out about it. So I was excited to read it.
Same. And did you know a lot of those favourite authors have got a short story in the anthology A Taste of Darkness?
I did know that, Claire. I did know that. Thank you for showing our Patreon audience.
And did you know that on Sunday the 29th of October at 2:30 Central, 7:30 UK time, we are going to be talking to some of our favourite authors from A Taste of Darkness anthology. Live on YouTube!
I did know that. I did know that. But does everyone else know that, is the question.
Well, they should. Keep an eye on our social medias for links and updates. And tomfoolery. Mainly for the tomfoolery.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Chance for tomfoolery? 100%.
More than 100%. That doesn't make any sense, Claire.
It does. It does. It's fine. It's all good.
Everything's fine. Would you like to provide this trigger warning? Because I was not bothered by any of these things. You seem to be triggered a lot more than I am.
I'm not triggered by it, but I know people who are triggered by it or may be triggered by it. So I'm just going to say there's mentions of child abuse, child neglect, suicide, and mental health. Obviously, there's murder. Gruesome, grotesque murder. We like to talk about the murder.
Obviously, we do.
Everything else, we kind of slide by. We don't go into graphic detail. Unless it's the murder, then we like to tell you about the murder.
Fictional murder.
Fictional murder. But yeah, just know that there is going to be some potential triggers in this.
Some terrible things happen in this book, friends. Terrible.
Yeah.
But it's also great. The Guest House is a gnarly horror movie from 1993 set in a cursed hotel. Nearly everyone involved in the film is dead. Are you interested? The Needle Man is gonna get you.
You're so creepy. You're so creepy. I love you.
Look, there's music notes written into the script. So I gotta say it how it's presented.
We're like Anchorman that way.
We are.
Well, halfway across the Atlantic Ocean is not, let's be honest, the ideal place to realise you're fucked. But that's exactly what happens to Laura Warren. The journey from London to LA is frankly awful, and sleeping pills fail to knock her out. Her seatmate is a man-spreader. Ugh. The air stewards, well, they're a bit too slow with the wine. And she just now realised that the Netflix TV series It Feeds, she's on the way to cover for Zeppelin magazine, is a modern interpretation of The Guest House. How the hell did Mike, her editor and ex-boyfriend, find out?
Laura has spent 30 years eradicating her past. She dyed her hair, put on white, never wears yellow, lost her American accent, and changed her name. She is a completely different person. If only her night terrors and nightmares would go, too. But, it seems Polly Tremaine, child actor, will never die. Unease filling her, Laura goes to the airplane bathroom to pull herself together. In the mirror, she sees a figure in a black coat with a bandaged face, beneath a black hat, and clawed fingers. The Needle Man. Turning, there's no one there. She's just jumping at shadows. Needly shadows.
Needly shadows. She's obviously flying economy. Even landing in LAX isn't without its trauma. For fuck's sake. First, the airline lost Laura's luggage, and Madeline, the entertainment publisher, turns out to be, annoyingly 100% Hollywood.
Ugh.
In the car, on the way to the studio, Madeline explains that production has hired a psychic in case anything spooky happens, and says Laura should really interview her. Blocking Madeline's inane chatter out, Laura spots a man standing on a bridge over the highway, and after they pass under the bridge, she turns and sees the man jump.
At Universal Studios, Madeline takes Laura to stage 5. A sick sensation hits her when Laura sees the set. It looks exactly the same. Madeline introduces Laura to Todd Terror, director and showrunner, who doesn't look old enough to vote. Pulling out her dictaphone, Laura can't believe she's doing this, conducting an interview about the guest house. Todd is obsessed with the guest house. He even has the original print in his office and treats the curse like a neat marketing tool and not something ghoulish, even though 8 real people actually died.
After the interview, Laura walks around the set and it's eerie. Going into the hall, she's sure she sees someone wearing yellow run up the stairs as a sing-song voice echoes around the set. 1 for sorrow, 2 for mirth, 3 for your funeral, 4 for birth. Fucking creepy. Before she sees movement in the doorway and 5 needle-like claws wrap around the frame and the thing in the darkness whispers, "Polish." Laura runs out the front door, turns back and sees someone fall from the roof. Madeline is there, but she didn't see anything. Oh God, Laura's going to be sick. She rushes to the restroom, vomits in the stall, and as Laura's cleaning up in the sink, she sees a disquieting middle-aged woman looking at her. Yeah, this is the set psychic.
I thought it was going to be needle shadows again.
Always needle shadows.
Later, in the hotel lobby, Laura video calls Mike and demands to know how he found out she was Polly Tremaine. Amy, Laura's little sister, told him.
Let the irritation begin.
Of course it was Amy. When Laura demands to get her flight changed and come home immediately, Mike protests. He tells her she is the real story, the original star coming out of the shadows to report on the remake and tell her truth. That is exactly not what she wants. Then Mike points out it would improve her work because it's not been very good since her dad died. Well, no fucking shit. Suddenly, Mike realizes that the guest house is the reason for her nightmares. He says he's sorry, but, I mean, the damage is done, man. You can just fuck all the way off.
He is an asshole. Back in her hotel room, Laura fruitlessly tries to find a Winona Ryder movie on the TV before giving up and trying not to think about the man in the highway or the psychic in the bathroom. Unfortunately, she thinks about how her mother, Pamela Tremaine, would punish her for playing, for getting a tan, for putting on weight, for wanting to be a normal kid. Pamela Tremaine would make Polly hold a lit match to practice her lines, not bothered if her daughter burnt her fingers.
I hated that
horrible.
Scene. That was
the scene is
awful.
Horrible.
I mean, fantastic.
Yeah. But Pamela Tremaine, you hate. Grabbing sleeping pills from her bag, Laura cuts her finger on the edge of the paper fortune teller, exactly like the one from the guest house, somehow got into her purse. Lifting a flap, Laura sees scrawled, "Welcome home, Polly." Not ominous at all.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine. The next day, Laura heads to Universal to interview Kyle Williamson, the 20-something actor who is playing Tammy Manners in It Feeds. New Tammy is definitely different from old Tammy. Starting the interview, Laura asks Kyle if she's experienced anything weird. Oh, yes. Yeah, she has. Kyle tells her about her missing lipstick and phone charger, how someone went through her trailer, her headshots with imposter scrawled across them, the dead rat in her bathroom, and just yesterday, someone wrote, "She's here," above the couch in her trailer. Is this spooky or an over-enthusiastic showrunner trying to get her in the horror mood? The interview ends, and Laura heads back to stage 5, where Todd, Terror, and Madeline try to scare Laura with the Needle Man in full costume. It's not funny. It's not funny at all.
No, not at all. Dicks.
Because it's not
Laura's
needle
next
shadows. It's real needles.
It's real needles. Laura's next in for you is Beverly, the psychic. Beverly isn't interested in talking and gives short, clipped answers, but this doesn't stop Laura. Eventually, Beverly says something curious about paper fortune tellers and uses her name like she knows she was Polly. Back in her hotel room, Laura sees a missed call from her sister Amy. Laura isn't ready to talk to her right now, but she can never stay mad at her sister. Nobody ever could.
I can.
Lying in the dark as
and
Laura...
do. And am.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is not... I rage. Lying in the dark as Laura feels sleep pulling her down, she sees something in the dark corner watching her and hears... Polish!
Laura wakes in a panic, struggling to breathe through the black smoke and heat. Taking in her surroundings, Laura realizes she's in a bathroom and not the one in her hotel room. Crouching low, Laura begins to make her way out and spots an unmoving body in the shower cubicle, their palm burned into the glass. Making her way outside, she realizes she's at Universal Studios, Stage 5, and on the set of It Feeds, which is currently going up in flames. How did she get here? Obviously, the police come and question Laura, and she tells them what happened and the very little she can remember, including seeing a figure in the corner of her room just before her sleeping pills kicked in and she fell asleep. The police seem skeptical, and now she's a material witness in a major crime, so she can't go back home to the UK.
No!
Sorry.
The police escort Laura back to the hotel and check her room. Laura realises she's likely not a material witness, rather the number one suspect, so she asks to check the hotel's CCTV footage. With the police officer, they go to speak to hotel security and are granted access. There is absolutely nothing on any of the camera recordings to support Laura's abduction. In fact, it's more incriminating as she's seen on camera walking by herself. Her old habit of sleepwalking, it's fairly weak. But what about the dead body in the shower? All Laura knows is that the guest house, one of the victims dies by being burned alive in the shower. As Laura is mulling this over in the hotel lobby, Beverly approaches her.
Beverly knows about the fire. She doesn't know who set it or who died, but she knows it has to do with Laura, and she wants to help her. On the way to the studio, Beverly tells Laura she believes in curses, but doesn't believe there is a guest house curse. Laura wants to start their investigation with Brad, the guy playing the Needleman, but it's a dead end, so they move to the costume department. But again, it's a wash. They leave to go back to the hotel and agree to meet up later. In the hotel parking lot, paparazzi hound Laura until she's able to get inside. A man in a Demons t-shirt tells the paparazzo to quit it and offers to help Laura escape, but that's just too much like the time in the supermarket a woman tried to kidnap her. That was the incident that drove her family to the UK and away from Hollywood. As Laura rushes inside the hotel, she's sure she hears someone call out, "Polly!"
In the elevator, Laura video calls Mike. She doesn't want to talk about what's happened. She wants him to talk to the police and get her out of LA. Again, Mike urges Laura to go public about being Polly. So she ends the call, placating him with assurances that she'll think about it. Entering her hotel room, Laura finds it trashed. Her mirror is smashed and her journal is stolen. The paper fortune teller has been purposely placed on top of her suitcase, which she finally got from the airline, and inside all her clothes have been shredded. Well, all except a yellow cotton dress, a replica of Tammy's dress. Yeah, that wasn't there before. As she leaves the hotel, Amy is standing in the doorway.
Amy had been in New York for work And when she heard Laura was in LA, she caught a flight over, knowing Laura might find being there difficult. You know what, Amy? You're a shit person. I don't think I believe you. Despite Laura telling her to stop, Amy starts snapping pictures of the room, for photographic evidence. I don't believe any of this. Grabbing the remnants of her stuff, they leave and head to the trashy motel Amy's staying in, and Laura confronts Amy for telling Mike who she was. Apparently, it was an accident when she was drunk, and Laura bailed on her birthday party for an interview. Fine. But who else knows? And why are they targeting her?
Later, while eating Chinese food, Amy is scrolling on her phone and tells Laura there are unconfirmed reports that the fire shower victim was Todd Terror. Making Laura feel even worse, Amy tells her the guest house turns 30 this year, and you know how murderers love an anniversary. And I don't know about you, Amanda, but knowing that the guest house is made in 1993 and that it was 30 years old anniversary, I shriveled and turned to dust as well.
Yeah, it made me want to vomit.
Well, the two sisters need to start strategizing. So Amy compiles a list of how people died in the movie. 1. Falling. 2. Burning. 3. Spider bites. 4. Drowning. 5. Decapitated. 6. Buried alive. And 7. Stabbed. And finally 8. Hanged.
No.
But Todd was burned, so it seems the order has been broken, though in It Feeds, the first death is spider bites. Ugh, remakes. So basically, they have absolutely no idea what could happen next. However, Laura keeps remembering the man who jumped when she first arrived in LA. As they settle down to sleep, Laura asks her sister, what if she set the fire but she just doesn't remember? Could I be a paranoid maniac in my sleep? Claire asks herself.
Yikes. The next morning, Laura calls her mom back in the UK. Pamela Tremaine would hate what she has become as dementia takes her memories and independence. Pamela Tremaine was told about the fire, so Laura reassures her she's okay and that Amy flew to LA the day before and is with her now. Curiously, Pamela Tremaine says that Amy has been in LA for 2 weeks and that she promised to bring her back some saltwater taffy. Laura tries to convince herself her mother is confused, but the seed of doubt is planted. And then Amy tries to persuade Laura to tell her story, a suggestion that sounds just like Mike. Unfortunately, it makes sense to weaponize the truth. Amy pulls out her phone and hits record.
After a cathartic session recounting what has happened, Laura checks her Instagram. Her follow account has exploded. Side note, Fictional Hangover also on Instagram, so you know.
Yeah, please make ours explode.
And she's also been tagged in a bunch of posts, some of which out her as Polly Tremaine. Deciding not to feed the trolls, Laura DMs Kyle Williamson, who just friended her. She wants to meet up, and Kyle replies with her address. Before they head over, Laura challenges Amy about when she flew into LA. Amy reiterates it was 2 nights ago, but Laura isn't wholly convinced. And neither are we.
On the way to Kyle's, they stop by a cell phone store to change their SIM cards in case they're being tracked. During the meeting, Amy records Kyle. She mentions how she doesn't trust the show Psychic because she heard Beverly was arrested for a murder and is called the Psycho Psychic. But that murder was ruled a suicide and the charges were dropped. When Amy excuses herself to go use the bathroom, Kyle changes the topic to Laura and the guest house. As they talk, Laura spots a dark shape outside in the pool. Then it moves and steps out of the pool. It's the Needle Man from the TV show. Suddenly, the Needle Man is in the house, behind Kyle. he slashes down toward Kyle's skull, and Laura conveniently blacks out. She comes to screaming from Kyle's assistant, and in her hand is a bloody knife. Amy comes in and drags Laura out.
Outside, Laura is starting to think she killed Kyle, but Amy keeps telling her she didn't do it. The assistant brought them water and she probably spiked it. It's worrying, though, that Laura's blackouts have started again. With sirens blaring in the background, Laura and Amy head away from Kyle's house. Unfortunately, Beverly pulls up to them and they get in her car, and Beverly takes them to her apartment. While Amy is standoffish with Beverly, she's not just standoffish, she's being an absolute bitch. Beverly freely answers Laura's questions, including about the girl who died. She'd performed an exorcism, but hadn't been told the girl was into some pretty extreme cult practices, and 2 weeks later she killed her family before killing herself. Damn. Amy tries to push Laura out the front door as Beverly begs to help, but her honesty and earnestness sway Laura, so they stay.
Amy continues to try to persuade Laura to leave and says that they can figure things out on their own because she doesn't trust the psychic. Laura heads outside to the balcony where Beverly is chain smoking. They talk, and Beverly admits she never felt anything spooky or unnerving on the It Feeds set. Beverly also doesn't think the guest house or It Feeds are cursed. Rather, it's an entity or an attachment, something malevolent looking for opportunities. Beverly doesn't deny it when Laura asks if the entity is attached to her. But to be fair, she also doesn't confirm it, so you know what? Time for a seance.
Yay!
Yay!
Every seance in every book we've ever read always goes well.
Right, yeah.
For no one. Despite Beverly's protests, Amy records the seance. Worryingly, Beverly pulls out Kyle's murder knife still covered in blood. Laura follows Beverly's instructions and feels the darkness close in. She senses a figure in the darkness whispering, "Polly." The needleman tells Laura to kill her. But Laura screams, "Stop!" and lunges for the needleman, her hands going round its throat. Amy pulls Laura away from Beverly, who Laura is joking. Dang.
They watch Amy's recording, but wah wah. There's no needle man, just Laura looking possessed. Beverly suggests that it could be demonic parasites, something that feeds on trauma. To get rid of it, they need to find its power source that will be linked to the origin of the trauma. Destroy the object, destroy the parasite. Laura suggests the original film reels in Todd Terror's office. Amy doesn't believe any of this at all. Then what do you believe, Amy? Sorry, I just got mad at Amy.
And her... No, it's fine. She believes in herself and her divine right to be an actor. Which, spoilers, we haven't talked about, but it's there throughout. Security at the studio is tight, and Laura's name being flashed all over the news in connection to Kyle's death are going to be a challenge. Laura's solution: make Madeline help them get in. For obvious reasons, Madeline is reluctant and tries to call the cops. Laura stops her and, with a fireplace poker, makes a very persuasive argument as to why it would benefit Madeline to help them. Within minutes, they're out the door and heading for the studio.
Madeline is able to get them inside. Amy is in awe. It's always been her dream to be an actor. But unfortunately, all she ever hears are rejections. Together, they make their way up to Todd's office and find the original The Guest House reels displayed behind glass. Smashing the glass, Laura takes down the 8 film canisters, passing them around to carry to the burned bathroom before dumping the contents into the shower stall Todd died in. Beverly passes a lighter, and Laura sparks the reels.
Too fixated on the burning film, none of them see Madeline disappear. As they move to look for her, the set begins to shake and collapse, separating Laura from Amy and Beverly. Laura is disorientated, not sure if she blacked out again, and resisting the rising panic, she tries to escape the collapsing set when she sees a body swinging and hears a voice say, "Polly!"
Laura tries desperately to help the person who she is convinced is Beverly down, but spiders cover the body and the rope more and more every second. And this, my friends, is where Amanda says nope. All the rest of the stuff, fine. Not spiders. No. No. Finally, using all her strength, Laura lifts Beverly down, only to see that it's Madeline. She's covered in spider bites, foaming at the mouth and bloating. Laura then spots Beverly on the ground and groaning. Performing CPR, Laura gets Beverly breathing again and up, just as Amy comes in. They need to get the hell out of here. Yeah, they do.
In the car, Beverly confesses she felt the entity, and it was pure rage. Laura considers handing herself to the cops, but the whole situation feels like something other is responsible. In between her sarcastic responses and scoffing, Amy suggests she call a friend for help, but won't say who it is. With no better option, they head to this friend's hotel. Guess what? The mysterious friend? It's Mike.
Fucking Amy, come on. Clearly, Mike isn't here in a professional capacity, but he certainly questions Laura like a journalist. He keeps looking at her strangely, and Laura doesn't like it. Regardless, he wants to help and has already spoken to a lawyer. Laura, Amy, and Beverly retire to a second hotel room. While Amy's in the bathroom, Beverly admits to Laura that she may be wrong and that it's maybe not a demonic parasite, maybe not even a demon at all, but a person.
Ooh.
No.
The next morning, Mike brings pastries and coffee. Beverly wants to ditch Mike. He's an unnecessary complication, regardless of Amy's protest that Mike has a credit card they can use. Eventually, Mike takes the hint and leaves, giving Laura the lawyer's business card before he goes. Wondering about Beverly saying it's a person, not an entity, Laura starts scrolling through her Instagram. One DM stands out. It's from the guy in the Demons t-shirt, Brian Ehrenberg, who Laura remembers was also a child actor in The Guest House. Despite Amy urging her to block him, Laura DMs Brian and he sends his address for her to come over.
They head straight over to Brian's, and as soon as he opens his front door, Laura and Beverly jump him and spray mace in his eyes. Charming.
That is not an appropriate hostess gift.
No. Laura demands to know what he knows about the Needleman, which is nothing. Just as Beverly is about to mace him again, Brian calls out to Amy by name for help. What? Turns out Brian is making a documentary, and Amy is a part of it. He even flew her out to LA a couple weeks ago. And the hatred for Amy grows. In exchange for introductions with agents, Amy would help him get Laura and has been recording her sister not for evidence for, the police or to help with all of these murders, but for the documentary. Laura doesn't understand what she's done to Amy for her to betray her like this, but she knows that Amy's too self-absorbed and desperate for Hollywood. Amy has clearly crossed a line here, friends. And we hate her.
She's crossed the line a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, Brian shows them his horror movie memorabilia, and it's impressive. Not creepy at all. It's creepy.
It's fine.
Brian is a podcaster now.
Hey!
Seems, and has been working on his documentary about the guest house for years. He's got a rough cut edited together and offers to show them. The Guest House writer Yvonne Lincoln's interview is interesting, and she is currently in prison for the murder of her husband, despite claiming it was self-defence. Amy, looking through some of Brian's letters, asks who Ivan Rothschild is. The story of the Guest House was originally his concept before he was booted by Christopher Rosenthal and Yvonne Lincoln took over. Ivan never received credit. Oh. This could be something. Brian is in touch with Yvonne Lincoln, but she won't talk to anyone else. Laura insists she'll speak to Polly Tremaine.
Brian has done a great job with prosthetics. A wig and a thick layer of makeup transform Laura into Callie Turner. Once confirmation for their visit to the California Institute for Women comes through, they head out. Straight away, Brian starts sweating, laughing nervously, and acting weird to the reception guard. Thankfully, Laura has more wherewithal and blames his jitters on too much coffee, which gets him inside and to Yvonne Lincoln. When Yvonne questions who Laura Callie is, Laura tells her they met when she was a kid, and Yvonne called her the sweetest thing you'd ever seen, a star. Instantly, Yvonne knows this is Polly, and she's all grown up.
As they talk, Yvonne tells Laura that since she's still alive, he has big things planned for her, the Needleman. Yvonne explains at first he was in her dreams at night, then during the day. He poisoned her husband against her, made him attack her, and she defended herself. Yvonne's experience is nothing like Laura's. Laura begs Yvonne to tell her where Ivan Rothschild is. Since the story started with him, it stands to reason that it ends with him. Yvonne tells her Ivan's address. As they leave, Yvonne warns her Ivan is a freaky fuck, so make sure you go during the daytime. This should be interesting.
Laura, Beverly, Amy, and Brian head to see Ivan Rothschild. On the drive, Amy tries to get Laura's forgiveness, but nah, dog, not gonna happen. Eventually, they reach an Elm Street-style house, and Ivan's daughter, Ruth, answers, looking worn out. Ivan died earlier this week. He jumped from a bridge near LAX. Oh my God, that's the guy that Laura saw jump. Ruth invites them in, and she tells them how Ivan got more and more paranoid and distant this past year and refused to see a doctor. Mentioning a script Laura loaned Ivan, Ruth leads them to his office and leaves them to look. There's a lot of occult research and a doodle of the Needleman on the back of a creepy picture. One photo is of the guest house and an attached article. The guest house is based on a real place, Gimlet Point Guest House in Craven, California, which closed after a series of unexplained deaths. Checking on her map app, Laura sees it's only 2 hours away in the middle of the Mojave.
They take a break in a diner on the way to Craven, where Amy and Brian try again to persuade Laura to be interviewed for the documentary. Laura protests because people don't want the truth. Then she admits she saw Rothschild jump. Laura is convinced there is something strange going on and they must be missing something important. They continue on a bit further before checking into a motel to rest and strategize a plan of action for Gimlet Point. After a bit of bantering about horror movies, Laura realizes she won't survive Gimlet Point. She takes off her disguise, puts on the Tammy Manners dress, and agrees to be interviewed.
The interview goes well because Laura insists Amy conducts it, so it feels more like a chat. Laura answers each question, and when Amy asks about the curse, Laura admits she saw Vince Madsen fall from the roof and die. She never told anyone that, and it's the reason she never believed there was a curse. After a few more questions about what's happening now, Amy calls an end to the interview. Composing herself in the bathroom, Laura sees the Needleman in the mirror's reflection. Then she and Amy take a walk outside. When they return to the motel room, they find the room dark. The guest house playing on the TV, Beverly having a seizure on the floor, and Brian's blood filling the bath. And his body sucked through the floor. On the bathroom mirror is scrawled, "You're mine, Polly."
Beverly doesn't know what happened. She heard voices, saw the TV change, and then just blacked out. This is the 5th time it's happened this week, and every time someone is killed. Laura then spots her journal on the bedside. Turns out, Beverly stole it from her hotel room because she wanted to help and thought it would be useful. Amy is concerned that Beverly is the killer, and it makes a lot of sense. Despite Beverly's begging, Laura and Amy leave.
They plan to head straight to Gimlet Point after stopping at a gas station for supplies first. You know, Mountain Dew, M&Ms, and 2-gallon cans of fuel. On the way, Laura looks through her journals and notices strange and violent entries she does not remember writing, but they're in her handwriting. Amy says the only explanation is that Beverly is the killer and she's setting Laura up, and she's faked the journal entries as evidence. When they're in the gas station, the attendant seems to transform into the Needle Man and rasps, "Polly," and grabs Laura. She struggles to get free and, in the end, bites him, just as the LA police detective and Mike pull up outside.
Laura's timing is terrible. They try to escape the gas station, but the detective spots them and orders them to freeze with her gun out, while Mike tries to talk to Laura. Laura will not be dissuaded and smashes and crunches their car out of the gas station and tears away. How did they find her? Amy thinks it was Beverly. Throughout the drive, Laura sees flashes of ghosts on the roadside and hears messages in the songs on the radio with the Needle Man's voice. He knows they're coming.
Soon, they reach Gimlet Point. It looks plush and lived in, not abandoned. Laura calls out to Ivan Rothschild, but she gets no response. Yeah, 'cause she saw him kill himself. So it's time to spread the fuel before setting the guest house ablaze from the doorway. Behind them is Beverly. She pushes both Laura and Amy back inside, follows, then locks them inside with the fire.
A knife-wielding Beverly tells Laura to stop running. It ends now. She also shouts at Amy, "Shut the hell up!" And we both rejoice. Finally! Beverly has been trying to help Laura the whole time, but there is something she's suppressed, buried so deep down she's convinced herself it never happened, but she has to remember. The past starts clutching at Laura as Mike appears. He urges them to get out because the house is on fire. No shit, Sherlock.
Duh.
Mike manages to get to them, holds Beverly back so Laura and Amy can escape, but the ceiling collapses, barring their exit. They've got no choice but to go up and out a window.
Don't go upstairs.
All the time.
Don't go
you
upstairs.
Never go upstairs in a fire. That is the worst thing to do in a fire.
And in a horror movie.
Yes. All the time, Beverly is telling Laura the thing inside her has been with her since 1993. Laura remembers the way her mother treated her, abused her and used her, and it makes her heart sick. After a bad incident with her mother, she remembers running away to the soundstage. As the memories flood Laura, she can feel something coming up her throat, and she vomits out a black thing which writhes and grows and transforms into the Needle Man.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Beverly says it's a parasite made of rage and trauma. The Needle Man lunges at Laura, but Mike jumps in its way and the claw goes into his gut. Wah, wah. Laura is able to fight the Needle Man by torching him with a baton made from a bit of burning stare. Together, they support Mike and head up to the attic. The Needle Man stalking them, banging and stabbing the locked door. The attic looks like a child's playroom. Only Laura can see Tammy Manners / Polly Tremaine in the corner.
Creepy.
Ooh.
As Amy finds a way out, Mike dies.
Shrug.
Womp, womp.
It doesn't even get a womp womp. Shrug.
No. The Needle Man bursts open the attic door and Beverly stands up to confront it, beseeching Laura to face her trauma. Laura finally admits, after a particularly bad argument with her mom in the studio, she ran up to the attic of the set. She was looking down below when the needleman appeared and grabbed her. When he said she couldn't be up there, rage filled her. It's the exact words her mom said. She was charged with absolute burning, flames burning. So she pushed him. Polly climbed down the set and watched Vince Madsen die. When she heard someone coming, she hid under the craft service table and watched Christopher Rosenthal remove the needleman costume from Vince. Laura must have killed them all. Todd, Kyle, Madeline, Brian and Mike. But Beverly tells her it wasn't her. It was the killer inside her. Again, yes. The needleman isn't done yet, though. He lunges toward Laura, but Beverly steps in and takes the blow to her neck.
Damn it.
As Beverly dies, Laura steps toward the needleman and pushes it from the roof into the flames below.
1 year later, in England, Laura is visiting Amy on the set of the BBC show Knock Twice. Mike came through in death. The lawyer he arranged was scary and amazing, and she got the charges thrown out based on circumstantial evidence. I don't know how she did that. She must be magical. Because Laura's straight up murderer. Anyway, Amy deleting all the recordings that she made the entire time helped a little bit. Amy nervously asks Laura to sit. She has something to ask her. It Feeds is being resurrected, and they want her to play Tammy. Do you mind? The question is disingenuous because Amy has already accepted the role. It's going to be so good for us, she says. These are trigger words for Laura, after all she went through with their mother, and she needs to go to the bathroom. As Laura stares at her reflection, she sees a shadow behind her. A needle shadow? She can hear Amy's voice ringing in her ears. After everything that happened, Amy wants to dig it all up and disrupt her peace. Amy's the worst.
Laura feels a lump in her throat and she swallows down the rage. From outside the bathroom, there is a sound of grunting and writhing, gasping and choking breaths, and footsteps. A tap, tap, tap at the door. Polly!
Outside the studio, there are clusters of flowers and cards dedicated to Amy. If only Amy had turned down It Feeds. Amy had been seduced by Hollywood and faced the consequences of her decisions. It was the same with the people who saw Polly suffer at the hands of her mother and stood by and did nothing. They were complicit, and they faced the consequences. Laura takes a folded piece of paper from her pocket and places it amongst the cards. She never got to give Amy her fortune. As Laura walks to her car, she pulls out a full box of matches, just waiting to be used.
Credits roll.
This would be such a good movie.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Right, well, why don't we go and pen that script with Josh? Messages from another podcast.
Yeah.
Hi there, I'm Volley, one of the hosts of the Reading Queens podcast. If you love books, fandom discussions, and having a good time, join your new internet friends as we take on such topics and more. Hosted by a group of published authors, Reading Queens is a podcast for every book lover. Every week, we get together to blab about our favorite books, why we love them, and the book boyfriends we wish were real. You can find the episodes on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and other platforms, with a new episode launching every Wednesday. Thanks. Now back to the show.
I just can't get over the fact that, like, this would be such a good movie.
Yes. Well, I mean, to be fair to Josh, he is also, you know, an entertainment journalist himself. He knows movies. He understands movies.
Yeah.
So I think he will think in terms of movies as well, and understands how it would work on paper and how it could be visually done as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I also think we read a lot of British horror. We read a heck of a lot of British horror.
We do.
And a lot of it would be absolutely bloody brilliant if we could see it on the screen.
Yes. Yeah.
Brought to you by Fictional Hangover. Bloody brilliant.
Yeah,
British
really.
horror.
Come on. Help us out here. Blow up our Instagram.
Fictional Hangover.
No, this one's Fictional Hangover. We don't have to do Fictional Hangover anymore.
Oh, God, yes.
Except for on Redbubble.
That's true.
Which also,
go to
Redbubble and buy some things. Unfortunately, not the goat pants that I mentioned making in the last episode, because it didn't work out. That's not how the template works.
Distraught.
Yeah, because it would either be like really stretched out the way the pattern worked. It would be like a G-O over here and an AT all the way over here, or it like would be sucked into your butt crack. There's no in between. So
maybe it just needs to be a goat tail.
But even still, it would disappear. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, Claire. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Burn the Negative, which was amazing.
No, we're talking about needle shadows.
Needle shadows are the best kind of shadows.
Not shadow puppets.
No, I take back what I said. I don't want to see needle shadows. I don't want to. I was gonna say. I know.
No. Do you think Laura was like suffering from multiple personalities? Or is it associative disorder? I can't remember the actual.
Dissociative identity disorder.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Yes. For the reason why I can pull that up readily, please see The Dead House by Don Curtis.
Like, she's obviously she went through some shit with her mother. Her mother is awful.
Yes.
And quite honestly, I don't think any of the characters in this book are particularly likable.
No, I was really dreading, like, filling out our notes and putting favorite character because they're all terrible. I'm
still undecided.
If I have to pick one, I guess I'm going to pick Beverly, because I feel like she was genuinely trying the whole time to help. She's the only one.
Yeah, I get that.
Everyone else was just trying to take advantage of Laura, or, was Laura and therefore a murderer. So, Beverly's the only one.
Or complicit in the abuse of a child.
Yes. Just
awful.
They're all bad. They're all bad. And that's amazing. We've talked about this before in several episodes where, like, it takes a really good writer to write characters that you hate.
Yes. And I like the fact that, there was nobody in the lineup who was, like, a genuinely nice person. And you are right, Beverly, we guess, is probably the least awful of a bad bunch. But, she's still the one who put the fortune teller in Beverly's hotel room. She's the one who stole the journal. She did. She wasn't a good person necessarily, but she was at least trying to help.
I thought of someone who could be good. Vince, the guy who was dressed up as the Needle Man, and they kept that whole thing secret, which I thought was really cool. But they had to keep it a secret because, he was murdered. But he was trying to help her. He was trying to stop her from, like, falling off the set. He didn't...
That's true.
He just happened to be dressed up as the Needle Man at the time. So...
Yeah. Brian wasn't too bad either. Brian wasn't too bad.
No, but he was making a documentary. But he was making a documentary. He
was making a documentary. However, he freely admits to Laura that he is making a documentary about the guest house, that he's enthusiastic about the guest house. He does not lie to Laura about making the documentary or disguise the fact that, you know, he knows Amy. He calls to Amy. It's Amy who has lied to Laura about the documentary. So I think, again, Brian is probably one of the lesser of the evils, and he does instantly help.
Yeah.
He doesn't at all say, hang on, you were there back in 93 when the murders started happening, and you're here now when the murders are starting to happen, and it's quite coincidental / fairly obvious that you must have something to do with it because of your mere presence.
Yeah.
He doesn't question it. He's just like, yeah, you want some help? That's fine. I'm going to get you into the prison. Let's get your prosthetic. Oh, let's get the prosthetics. So he does try and help,
right.
which is rubbish at the guard.
I liked that, like, that scene. I could just see it happening as a montage. And he was, like, putting on a big fake nose, and they're, like, swapping out noses and, like, trying different eyebrow shapes, and I can just see it all happening. He's got 1,000 wigs, and they're putting on all of the wigs.
I want a scene where she goes in and out of, like, the changing room a few times to find the right outfit as well, and then when at the end they all collapse onto the sofa.
Yes. Yeah. I think that would be too much fun and silliness.
Yes, but that's what I want. I want that breaking moment of, like, this is a horrible movie where everybody is getting murdered. There is very few redeemable characters. Let's have this ridiculous scene, and it's kind of like this is very much an homage to horror movies as well, the horror genre.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's have that silly montage scene as, again, an homage to the 90s movies.
Yes.
Where we had those. So, yeah, I want that. I want a good montage scene.
Yeah. I don't even know how to, like, talk about this book because so much happens.
It's a weird one. Yeah.
But I love...
a lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah, but I love all of it. And I really appreciated the, like, the whole recreating a popular movie from the 90s and trying to redo it and trying to make it better. And so, like, there's all these murders, and then people are actually getting murdered at the same time. And so they're trying to figure out, okay, who's going to get murdered next and how? But then they can't figure it out because they've missed one of the original. They missed the Ivan Rothschild killing himself. So they don't count that. And then, you know, there's the bathtub fire, which how does that even happen? A fire in a bathtub. And then, like, where do the spiders come from? I just love all of it. And then it gets all mixed up for the reboot. And that just makes it more confusing and more terrifying. And I love it.
That's it. The murders are wacky and weird and wonderful. Yeah. So the Madeline getting covered in the spiders, I can't help but feel that's in Laura's imagination. Laura sees the spiders. Because, one, where did the spiders come from? And two, where did the spiders go? Nobody else saw the spiders. So that's got to be in Laura's head.
Imaginary spiders.
Yes. So the reaction Madeline has is an allergic reaction. But I can't remember in the book if it's ever said that she has an allergy to something. Like, did she give her a peanut or a strawberry or something that would cause that reaction?
Yeah, I don't know. And they do ask if she has an EpiPen. And, like, no, she doesn't. So I can't. She was also hanging, though, wasn't she?
She was, but also she's just been at fire poker point, dragged from her house. She's not necessarily going to have, you know, while she was busy doing yoga, she's not necessarily going to have the EpiPen in her pocket.
Well,
and Brian gets sucked into the ground. What did Laura really do with Brian? Did she chop him up into bits? Is Brian bits?
I don't know. He might be.
Is Brian bits and being packaged and sold as horror memorabilia?
I don't know. I love that, though. I
And as much as I hate Amy, I kind of half want to see the story from her perspective, because she wouldn't have seen the spiders. When did Laura slip out to, you know, cause a seizure in Beverly and or murder Brian? Because there are points where there's obvious separation, but I'm kind, as much as I just do not want to be in Amy's head, because Amy is an insipid, annoying character. Worst. And I'm sorry, Josh, but you did not give her any redeemable features or make her in any way empathetic. She was annoying.
She was the worst.
But I liked that. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Because similarly to when we were going, shut up, Chad, last week, I was going, shut up, Amy. Nobody wants you here, Amy. You're a bad sister, Amy.
God, she's the worst.
Like, I'm interested to see from her perspective. And it's also very coincidental that Ivan Rothschild jumped off the bridge as part stimulant for this spree. So it does also kind of make me think, is the Needleman real as well?
I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to... Yeah, I mean, obviously Laura is an untrustworthy narrator. But there's some stuff that happens and you just, like, how could she possibly have done that? Like, Brian being sucked into the floor. How?
Todd's murder fine. Kyle's murder fine. Ivan's jump weird. The spiders, or at least the allergic reaction, suspect.
Yeah. So, like, is the Needleman real, or is the curse real, or is this demonic possession, or, like, there's so many options, and I don't know the answer to any of these questions, which makes it even better.
I don't think the curse is real, or if you want to label the curse is Laura, because the original set, the original 90s movie people, it kind of explained at the end the reason they were killed was because they were complicit in the abuse of Polly.
Yes.
When she was little.
Yeah.
The new ones, they're all obvious reasons connected to the terrible remake that's been done.
Yes.
Amy, thank God, she doesn't need an explanation.
No, she deserved to be murdered. If anyone deserved to be murdered, it was Amy.
Exactly. So I absolutely love the fact that throughout, I'm rooting for the bad guy.
Obviously.
And two, which is also a bit of a surprise, a 7-year-old pulled off so much murder. Like, the pushing I get, the first one, of Vince, I get that.
Uh-huh.
But then the other ones, like, how did she infect Yvonne with the Needleman thing? Which makes me think the Needleman has some reality.
He's got to. He's got to.
He is not a demonic parasite. He's a curse. He is Polly's protector.
Oh, he's Polly's BFF.
Yeah, he's quote unquote guardian angel.
Oh, they're gonna hold hands with needle fingers and, like, skip off to the playground.
Yes.
So then maybe going back a little bit, the favorite character isn't Beverly. It's the Needleman. He's the hero.
It's the Needleman.
He's the hero.
He's the one who's saving Polly, now Laura.
Yeah, he's a hero.
Have we cracked the case?
I think we did. We just figured it out.
Oh.
He's a hero.
On that bombshell, should we go into Would You Rather?
I think we should. We're very excited for this edition.
In general.
In general, yes. But we're very excited for this game of Would You Rather because we're joined by Josh Winning, the author of this fantastic book. So thank you for joining us, Josh. We're so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this.
Oh, you're not as excited as us.
No.
We're going to be calm and composed.
I always sound sarcastic when I say stuff like that, but I really mean it. Like, I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh, it's like whenever I try and offer sympathies to people, I don't sound genuine. I'm like, no, I mean it. You look lovely today as well.
I'm like that when someone gives me a present and you can tell that they really want to get like a really positive reaction from you, and even if I really like it, I feel the pressure to manufacture this flamboyantly enormous reaction that obviously comes across as just completely ridiculous.
Oh my god, I'm so excited about these socks! Yes!
And genuinely, you need a new pair of socks because all the ones you've got have got holes in or don't have matching sets.
Right, and you really love them. But it all sounds fake.
People need socks.
People do need socks.
I would actually dispute that because I don't like socks.
Oh.
I think if you wear socks to bed, you're a psychopath.
Oh no, don't. Oh no.
And if I have to wear socks with shoes, that's fine. But as soon as I get in the house, shoes come off, socks come off. I can't stand having socks on my feet.
Same.
There's a place for socks, and it's not in bed.
Oh God, no.
Completely.
No.
It's a tell. If you actually ever meet anybody and they say I wear socks to bed, it's a red flag, and you get
Walk away.
out. Walk away.
Walk away. Just nope, right out of there.
Do not get in the
which
bed
is
with
appropriate for this month's book theme. Thank you, Amanda. Book challenge theme is nope, and of course, every freaking situation in this book is a nope situation.
It is. It definitely is, and that is why we love it. So we should play Would You Rather. What's our first question?
It is. We asked on social media, would you rather star in the original movie or the Netflix series remake? And on Facebook, 80% are going to be in the Netflix remake. On Instagram, they're 100% original, baby. And on TikTok, it's 67% for the original. And we do have some comments, which are often helpful in your own response. So Emily on Facebook said, I would like to choose neither because I don't want to die while shooting either. To which we pointed out, and this is a very key important point of playing Would You Rather, you are the lord and master of your Would You Rather experience, so you can mould your response to however you want. It doesn't have to fall 100% in line to the book. To which Emily responded with, you make an excellent point. I shall go for the Netflix remake because I would have done the research and try to avoid dying like how my character did.
That's smart. I like that logic.
Yes.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, definitely. Bree on Facebook said, I'm going to star in the remake because I can come to it fresh instead of carrying the emotional baggage of the cast and crew deaths. I'd rather be a fascinated fan after the fact who makes it accessible for a new generation of audience. So Bree was like kind of the exact opposite.
Yeah. I like that. I like that she's thought about it. She knows.
Bree always puts thoughts in her responses.
Yes, we always have very good responses.
And thankfully, Constance hasn't done this as a song, she stopped doing that, thank God. Her response was, I choose the original. I'd be the final girl, Sydney, that survives through it all and watches the dumb people die during the remake.
Yeah. If you're going to be anyone, be Sydney Prescott.
Yeah, definitely.
She's just the best. I love her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coral on Facebook says, original sometimes are better than a remake.
Oh.
I mean, almost always. They're almost always better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glim Glam Jen on Instagram. The Netflix series remake, but it's all real. They kidnapped me and the other actors and put us in the same situations and filmed us. But what if it's in space? Well, they locked us in one of those biospheres things and are tricking us. Glim Glam Jen. She always goes next level.
She really, really does. And I want to go, and Claire, we did not talk about this in our discussion. I actually thought this is what happened for just
they went in space?
one. No, they didn't go in space. that it was all the trick, and they were being filmed. There was the one scene where the building starts to shake and crumble and Laura's separated from everyone else, and in my head I saw that it was one of those rooms in Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's a Jamiroquai room.
Yes, it's a Jamiroquai room. The whole thing is being turned upside down on the set, and she doesn't know that any of this is happening. But obviously, I was wrong.
That would have been such a good twist if there was like a Truman Show style situation going on. I wish I had thought of that.
Look,
Maybe that should have been the ending of this book.
You're friends with Fictional Hangover now. We'll take care of you. We have good ideas.
Well,
Yeah.
you know when we
them.
eventually, when we eventually do our anthology of fan fiction homages, second epilogues, we'll put that in there.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
Amazing.
So we have one more comment. It's from author friend Real Jackson Ford on Instagram, and he chooses always the original. We have to mention Real Jackson Ford when he comments because he's a fantastic human being.
He's determined to be on every single episode.
Yeah.
With brilliant taste.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
By the sounds of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Josh, what are you doing?
Okay. Can I swear? Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Please,
Fuck
for
yeah.
the love of fuck.
Oh, okay.
We're made of swears.
You can drop the
Fuck
C-bomb.
that.
We don't care.
We do like that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we like that one.
We're fully
Please
accessible.
do. Yes.
Okay, well, in that case, I agree with probably half of the comments because, in the words of Sidney Prescott, don't fuck with the original.
Right.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
So I would have to be the original. Like, I love a lot of what Netflix have done. I love the Dark Crystal series, but I mean, that was a prequel rather than a remake. So that's kind of like playing a different ball game. But yeah, I totally agree. The original is always better. I can't really think of that many remakes that I either like or prefer over the original.
I have one, and I don't prefer it over the original because the original is my favorite horror movie of all time. And the new one wasn't a remake.
Okay,
it was a prequel, or no, it wasn't a prequel. It was happening simultaneously after the fact. I don't know. Whatever. Candyman. I really loved the new one and how he was. Have you seen the new one? I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I have. I enjoyed a lot of it. I loved the opening with the legend of Helen and how that had become its own myth that had grown out of the Candyman myth. That was really clever.
Yeah, that was a good one. I will take that
Anytime shadow puppetry is used in a movie as well is an instant win for me.
Especially if it's a needle shadow, which we
Needle
discussed
needle
a
shadows.
lot
We need some needle
in
shadows
the main episode.
everywhere.
We need some needle shadows.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think you need to do a cosplay for this one, Amanda, but all it is needle shadows. That's all I want. I don't want anything else but needle shadows.
I can handle that. It's been
I'd
a
love
little
to see
while. Yeah,
It's been
a
too
little while.
long. It's been too long. We need some needle shadows.
Doing it. On it.
Cool.
What
So
about you, Claire? Would you want to be the original or the remake?
Original. Yeah, I can't think of any remake. I mean, even on the Would You Rather image, and I was thinking about it, I went, what Netflix have done that's a remake or reimagining that's absolute trash, but the original movies are quite good. And the only thing I could think of was Resident Evil. Because as much as the Resident Evil series gets really bad, the first one's really good, and I will defend it to my dying day that the first one is really, really good. But I suffered that Resident Evil TV series from front to end because I very rarely DNF things, and it's absolutely horrendous. It is trash. Do not watch
Oh no!
it. Don't waste your time. Honestly, go and rewatch something. You're better off rewatching something than you are to watch that TV series. It was rubbish.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I can't think of any.
Is Mila Jovovich in it?
No, not at all. I mean,
Lame.
Lance Hendrickson.
She is Resident Evil.
R.I.P.
Oh my
She
god,
is.
Lance Henriksen. He's awesome,
Yeah.
but not
R.I.P.
awesome enough to save it. For the sounds of it.
No, not at all.
You know,
It's just horrible.
I kind of didn't hate, even though it's not a Netflix TV series, but I kind of didn't hate the MTV Scream
Oh yeah.
TV series. I didn't hate that. I mean, it wasn't Scream, but I
It was
didn't hate it.
different.
It was
I
different.
liked that they kind of just did their own thing. There's a different mask. Yeah, it was fun and like it really was quite grisly. Like, isn't there a bit with a guy with a farm sort of thing that happens that's quite horrific.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think that falls in line thinking about like Wednesday. It's not a remake of the Addams Families in any way, shape or form. It's taking a different route around and having that base in it. I really enjoyed the Wednesday series. So it's kind of that kind of thing for me, the Scream, where you know the original, and as long as you know of the original, you'll appreciate this, but you don't need to know the original to appreciate this.
Yeah. I find it really weird that there will be kids who watch Wednesday and have never seen the 90s movies. That blows my mind.
Addams Family Values are two of the greatest movies.
Absolutely.
I can only imagine that if they didn't watch the original, like, as it was a thing, they would probably be disappointed. Shocking. If you come to it after the fact.
Angelica Houston is a legend, and she needs to be appreciated and worshipped.
She's amazing.
Goddess.
I used to have all of the, well, probably not all, but most of the original black and white Addams Family TV show on VHS. I used to watch it all the time. It was on like Channel 4 or BBC or something, and I used to record it on at like 6:30 or whatever, and I used to record it, and I used to watch them all the time. Loved them.
I mean, that snaps. Is that snaps? That is snaps. Yeah. I'm making noises.
It's got to be an appropriate snap.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I think we're all original, aren't we? Definitely.
Yeah. Unless it's Candyman. But I will just be in all of the Candymans.
You'll be in all the Candymans. So we'll
even the shitty sequels.
We'll be the original, but then they're going to pay us a heck of a lot of money to make a cameo in the remake.
If we're still alive.
Heck of a lot.
Oh, yeah. Didn't Bruce Campbell, he was in the Evil Dead reboot, so it wasn't really a remake, it was more of a reboot, and he appears right at the end of the credits and just says groovy. Like, that's his whole contribution, which is all you want, really. That's all you want him to do.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Is it Sam Raimi? Yes, Bruce Campbell's involved. Is it Evil Dead? Yes, Bruce Campbell's involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on to our second question. Would you rather realize you're actually a murderer or actually cursed?
Shall I go first?
Yes, please.
If you know what you're doing, I do not.
Well, I love the logic of, like, you've realised you're a murderer. It's like you've just suddenly, a whole mess of crap's happened and you're like, wait a minute, I'm a murderer.
Wait a second.
Yeah, what? There's people screaming? Oh, it all makes sense now. Okay.
Blood on my hands?
Yeah. I think if I had to choose, I would choose to be actually a murderer, because at least that's something I can do something about. Like, I can just stop killing people. Whereas if you're...
keep killing people.
Or keep killing
keep killing people.
You haven't been caught yet.
Yeah, like a vigilante.
Yes.
Whereas if you're cursed, you're pretty much just fucked. Like, all the things I've read and seen about curses, there's no way of getting rid of them. You're doomed, basically.
Yes.
And like, cursed means you're a victim, whereas murderer means you're the opposite of a victim.
Unless you start going after yourself because you realize that you're actually a murderer, and then you have to stop yourself from murdering.
That's
that's
a detective genre horror. You are both detective and murderer in that one.
Yes.
Let's put that on the Nemo Nimo Rimo list, man.
What's that?
Yes.
Is it a Tiffany song? I touch myself. You could just turn it into I kill myself. I kill myself. Yeah. There you go.
When I think about murder, I kill myself. We're gonna rewrite the lyrics to that too. Look for that. That will happen. I'm obviously a murderer. If you're just coming to the show now, like Josh is, there is no question. I am always the villain. I am always a murderer. So
I feel like we need to caveat that with a PSA that
not actually a murderer in real life.
Again, we need to caveat this.
In a fantasy world.
In a fantasy world.
Fictional murder.
What kind of murderer? Like witchy murder, or like like stabby murder?
Oh no, it's definitely gruesome. There's definitely lots of, blood splatter and gore all over the place.
Nice. So you're like an interior designer.
Yeah.
But you murder people to
Yeah.
decorate.
And I'm using my victim's interior.
Yeah. So many layers.
So, God, I'm so glad you're on this episode. This is amazing. We love you already. You know us.
I love you if you're an interior designer murderer. I feel like that's a real niche in the.
It is.
There's a gap in the market there.
There's not many of us.
Yeah. Have you seen those videos where the artist videos, reels and stuff, where you'll see there was one I saw where it was a Spider-Man face, and they poured rice over it, and then where it landed they drew round, and then they took the rice off, so where the rice didn't land it was Spider-Man mask, and where the rice did land it was Peter Parker, and hyper realistic. It was absolutely beautiful. Now I've got that image in my head, except instead of rice you're using blood.
Yeah, entrails for sure.
Yeah. Just swinging the intestines round, just get nice coverage.
Yeah, like a lasso.
Singing Tiffany.
Yes. Yeah. God, now we have the music video to shoot too. It's perfect. All of this
and it's
is
your
happening.
Jamiroquai set.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I can make that one happen, but everything else I'm gonna work on.
And the judge. So now you're on like an interior design TV series, and the judge is Bruce Campbell. And if he likes it, he says groovy. And if he doesn't like it, he says cast you out, or whatever he says to get rid of the demons.
I love all of this so much.
This is happening. Trademarking all of this.
Yeah.
TM. This is property of Fictional Hangover. Royalties shared with Josh. I'm also going murderer, but I'm not going to answer with anything else because I can't be what you've said. You didn't see previous statements. Dang.
Can you be like the carpenter, or the tradesperson who comes in and does all like the really hard stuff that we can't figure out?
Can you clarify the genre there,
do.
please?
In the interior design show, you're the carpenter who comes in and builds everything.
Yeah, I'm the one who's, splattering the entrail paint on the wall. And you're the one in the background going, gotta come in and fix that. So then you come out with your hammer, and then you will murder me, and then you'll take over. This is perfect. Everything about it is great.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn your leg into a lamp.
Thank you.
And
yes.
Skull will be some kind of like feature on like a pedestal. I'm going to have some nice interesting lights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would
I'm
prefer
have a jar of your teeth.
Thank you. Oh, you can't see my jar of teeth. It's up there.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Jar of teeth.
Is that from Cat Ellis's Harrow Lake?
No, those would be in the tree.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry, Cat.
How dare you?
You've just invoked the curse of Mr. Jitters.
Oh, nice.
Your little doll out.
I've seen that on your social media, I think. Awesome.
I?
Yes. They're so good.
And then I got to act them out in real life. And it was great.
You act them out in real life and I play with the dolls.
Yes. It's perfect. What's our next question?
I have no idea. Would you rather be a washed-up child actor or a suspicious psychic? Beverly wasn't a good psychic in the end. She saw none of that coming, did she?
She really did not.
She might have done. Are we doing spoilers?
Oh,
of course. All spoilers all the
okay.
time. All fucks all the time. Go
Okay,
on.
cool. Good rules. I think she did. I think she kind of slightly sacrificed herself, Like she knew that there was only one way this was going to come out, and it was basically this way, and she kind of had to die for it to happen.
Yeah.
But
did
is
love
Laura
though.
worth it?
I guess she thought she was saving Laura, and then Laura turned out to be basically unsavable.
Actually a murderer.
Which I love.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a redeeming feature. Finally. Thank you.
It's amazing.
Rooted for the bad guy all the time.
We always do.
Hooray! I've seen a few people online who are really upset about the ending, and I haven't like dug into what they're upset about specifically because I don't really need the negative. I'd burn the negative.
Burn the negative.
But I can only think that they felt that they wanted Laura to be like have an uplifting final girl ending, and she kind of gets that, but you know, from a really quite warped perspective, maybe.
Yeah.
She's the final girl because she's the friggin' murderer.
Yes.
What better way to be the final girl? No,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
are strong proponents of loose endings.
Yes.
Open
endings are
endings, lovable bastards.
no lovable assholes.
Assholes, sorry.
Use the correct words. Buy the
sorry,
t-shirt.
asshole.
Lovable assholes.
And irredeemable characters.
Yeah.
Those
also,
are three of my favorite things.
Also, we decided that the Needleman is the hero because he's been keeping her safe all this time, and that they're best friends and they hold hands with needle fingers and skip.
Yes. It's precious.
It is.
They definitely do that.
Yeah.
No, I really like that you see him as the hero. That's really fun. Because he's kind of like a messed up imaginary friend / guardian angel.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's exactly what we said.
Yeah. Amazing. I love this. I've not had any spoilery discussions about the book before, so this is really fun that we can just talk about spoilers.
We are refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we?
I remember when Amy
discussion?
came on and she was like, "We can talk spoilers." I'm like,
Yeah.
She's like,
Oh my god. Just let it all hang out. Yeah.
"Oh, you."
Oh right, there's a question.
There's a question.
Washed up child actor, suspicious psychic.
Yeah, I would go for the suspicious psychic every day of the week. I'd rather be suspicious than washed up.
Yeah, nobody wants to be washed up.
And like psychics are really cool. I would love to be psychic.
I want to
Yeah.
be a suspicious psychic, but I want to be on like a ghost hunting program because Amanda, you know how much I love spooky programs.
Yes.
And tonight I'm going to be watching. I'm sorry, I'm not watching Friday the 13th.
You're wrong.
I'm watching ghosty programs. There's new episodes of stuff coming out that I'm desperate to watch. And I'm going to be
Awesome.
that weird, suspicious psychic. I'm not going to be like Most Haunted, like, oh God, what was he called? Derek
Nick, was it
Okora.
Nick? Yeah,
Derek
yeah.
Okora. With his spirit guide Nick. I saw Derek Okora live once. What an absolute fake. R.I.P. Derek Okora, but he was an absolute fake. But I'm going to be a suspicious psychic on a ghost hunting program.
That was one of my early ideas for this book, was a ghost hunting program with a psychic. But it ended up being something completely different, obviously. But yeah, I love the yeah.
We'll
Moidery.
also read that one when it comes out. So
Yeah.
just write that one up.
But burn the negative 2. I don't know. Burn more negative.
Burn more negative.
Burn the negative 2. : EMF reader.
Oh yeah.
You've got to go for some really terrible title. That means it's
Or like-
when the movie's made, it's going to be like made for TV, and then it's going to
Yeah.
get cult following, and then basically all you have to do for the rest of your life for a steady income is do the con circuit.
Yes. And
There
be
you
a
go.
con artist on the con circuit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a murderer on the
There is a
actual
presence.
murderer on the con circuit committing actual murder.
Yeah. We've got absolutely solid gold ideas here. I need to start writing them down.
You do. Don't worry. It's going to be recorded.
It's all
You can
recorded.
come
Yeah,
back
true.
to it.
Yeah.
It is all trademarked. This is all trademarked.
Yeah.
If you do end up writing another book using all of these ideas, please just scoot Fictional Hangover into it. Mention us in the
Yeah.
acknowledgements.
Yeah.
You know, throw us a bone.
You'll hear us
It's a
squeak
deal.
if that ever what that happened once, and we squeed loud.
Yeah. Well,
No
happened.
way.
That happened with Amy McCaw. She wrote some of our things that we discussed in our episodes into her book. It was fantastic.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You've been
We-
immortalized in print.
Yes.
It's very exciting.
It was
You are
amazing.
everlasting.
I don't think I've answered this question. I don't want to be washed up. I think I did say that, so maybe I'm lying. I don't want to be a washed up child actor unless I am also actually a murderer. That's the only way. Nobody wants to be washed up. I don't want to be pathetic. I want to be amazing.
You could be a washed up child actor that reinvigorates their career through reality television. In the form of murder.
Yeah, okay. And then there's a true crime like series where they're trying to catch me. And then I end up catching myself, and then it goes back into what we were talking about earlier, and just everything is wrapped up on itself.
And then for life, all you're doing is the true crime circuit.
The true crime con circuit, in which I am actually a murderer, murdering everyone, and then I move on to the next one.
Yeah. And they have to keep doing more cons because they're trying to catch you.
But they can't.
And then, you're uncatchable.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, the washed up child actor, I feel like there is something quite nice about the potential to being washed up. I feel like you could just not give a shit anymore, Just watch daytime TV, live in your pajamas. I mean, this is some stuff I already do.
I was going to say, stop saving my life.
Yeah, I am currently wearing pajama pants. right
I think
now.
we all are. Yeah. I've been at work all day and I work at home, so I'm in half pajama pants.
Yeah, you just can't stand up on Zoom because then everyone will know.
No, you never stand up on Zoom.
No.
It's not a good idea. Okay, next question. Would you rather... Would you rather infiltrate a prison in costume or sneak onto a movie set whilst on the run from the police?
I would probably do the infiltrating a prison thing because I like a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be quite interesting. And yeah, I'd be terrified. I'd be pooping my pants that I'd get caught and then they wouldn't let me leave, But I think it'd be quite a fun little day out.
And what would your costume be?
Oh. Well, it wouldn't be an inmate because then you really would get stuck in there. So it would have to be like a cleaner maybe, or like an FBI profiler. I'm thinking about like Mindhunter, something like that, something very glamorous.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I instantly think a giant panda bear costume? I don't know. But okay.
Just like straight to Halloween costumes, but the terrible ones.
I mean, you could be like you've come in to entertain everybody. Like didn't Johnny Cash used to be like a prison entertainer?
Yeah.
But I feel like that would be like the easiest way to get in, maybe.
Not if you did it in drag.
You're wearing like the sexy themed Halloween costumes. You're like a sexy traffic cone or something stupid like that.
Sexy traffic cone.
Traffic cones are sexy.
It's so sexy. That would not be a good costume to wear into a prison. I'm sorry that sexy traffic cone was the first thing that popped into my head. If we're being honest, traffic cones aren't sexy. I'm sorry I said it.
Or traffic cones. I'm sure they're sexy to each other.
So judgmental.
Yeah.
Remember, Amanda, we don't kink shame on Fictional Hangover.
That's true. We do not. If you think traffic cones are sexy, more power to you.
Yeah. I'm just picturing like a Madonna situation now.
That's what I see too. Yeah. That's the sexy traffic cone costume. Is pointy.
You see, my problem is I live near Newcastle, which is a huge like stag and hen do place. And there is not a Saturday night when a traffic cone doesn't end up on the top of a monument.
Yeah.
Is it a good night out if a traffic cone isn't on the top of one of the statues? Or there's one in Edinburgh, which every time I've gone to Edinburgh, there's always been a traffic cone on its head.
Or you could use it as a musical instrument, you know, turn it the other way around, do a bit of do 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 do
could.
They're really
do.
heavy though.
Make
Yeah.
Not
loud
that I've ever
announcements.
been, you know, a person that's ever put a traffic cone on their head.
You're the one going out every Friday night putting traffic cones on statues.
It's you. It's you.
I've got to do something and like come down off the recording because we usually do it at 11 o'clock at night. So yeah, you know, right, finish recording the podcast. I'm gonna go and put a traffic cone on the statue's head.
Yeah.
That's how I wind down.
Yeah.
Have a potion. Go to bed.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Party.
As a complete side note, I'm just going to say I'm sneaking onto a movie set whilst on the run from the police because that's easier and I don't want to be locked into prison.
I will also quickly answer this question with being in costume because that is all I ever want to do all the time. So, costume. Whether it's a prosthetic nose or a sexy traffic cone, doesn't matter. I choose the costume.
So this cosplay that you need to do now has to be a traffic cone and then the needle fingers.
Yeah. It's not going to make sense to anyone, but, you know, the three of us, we're really going to enjoy it.
It's just going to come with the comment of, please listen to the episode. It's the only way it will make sense.
The only way.
And even then, you're going to have questions.
Bye.
Last would you rather?
Oh my God.
As an actor, not actually being murdered, which death would you rather experience? Amanda, I know it's not going to be spider bites for you.
It's not going to be spider bites.
You've had a full-on wig during the episode.
I did.
Oh, really?
I would choose any of the other ones. Ugh,
Yeah.
not
The
spiders.
spiders. Yeah, the spiders. I threw in there just as like a little sort of like, if you don't like spiders, this is gonna get you good. I'm not the biggest fan of spiders, but you know, I actually recently, just this past weekend, I was at my sister's house, and my 5-year-old nephew was saying how scary spiders are, and I was trying to like be the big grown up and sort of like broaden his mind and be like, no, it's fine. Like, don't live your life in fear. It's fine. And his reasoning was, but spiders have so many eyes, which, yeah.
And then you
Pretty
peed your
scary.
pants.
Yeah.
Spiders are perverts. They're always in the bathroom as well. Same
They love to just sit and watch you, don't they?
Yeah, same as moths. Pervs.
Claire is terrified of moths.
Yeah,
I can't believe you
But I
just
like
brought
the
them into the
Mothman.
conversation.
I like cryptids.
Yeah, the Mothman. Is that a Richard Gere film? The I forgot what it's called now.
There was a Josh Hartnett
Mothman prophecies.
prophecy. That was,
Yeah.
was that Josh Hartnett?
Well, no, now I gotta get
I don't
IMDb
know.
up.
It's one that I never watched. Looked a bit silly.
It's good.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
I am going to choose being sucked into the floor as my murder because that one makes like the least sense and is also terrifying, and I can also just imagine myself as being like frozen in carbonite, you know, and like I'm there in the floor, but I've been sucked in and I'm dead. I like that one the
Yeah.
best.
And then one day someone will find you and you'll be like the coolest antique in the house.
Yeah. Yes.
Put on display by the front door.
Uh-huh. I am the front door.
Can we just get you out every Halloween? You're like one of those giant Target skeletons. Where'd you get that from? You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
The growl.
What are you picking, Claire?
But I'm not going to go buried alive because that's like things being in the walls. I do not like things in the walls.
But you're okay with me being in your floor.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just you.
Okay.
I'll just stomp. Go, shut up, Amanda.
Just kick me.
Drowning's scary. Don't particularly want to be stabbed or hanged. How am I going to get to... Somebody got
I love how
decapitated.
seriously you're considering.
Of course. I've got the list in front of me. Somebody in the street I grew up with was decapitated at work once. That was... Well, of course, it's never going to be
Once? Just the
but
one
they
time?
were decapitated. That was really creepy.
Oh my god, yeah, that's
Yeah.
horrible. Oh. Where did you work?
I was only a kid. It was the neighbour across the street. It was some factory. I don't know. I was only a kid.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
god.
fear
That'd be
of-
awful. Like, sorry Sorry, Amanda, your husband's not coming home today. He's had his head chopped off
He was
at work.
decapitated.
Yeah, awful. I don't know why I'm making light of it. It's terrible.
Oh, it was one of those, when it was only a small street I grew up in. It was back in the days when everybody knew each other as well. We actually knew your neighbours, and it was the gossip of the street. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Whoa.
My mum, who listens, she'll probably text me after hearing this and confirm all the details. So thanks, Mum.
Please share the details with us.
I will. I'm thinking. Do I have to be covered in spiders, or can it just be one bite and then I can hope to turn into Spider-Man?
They kill en masse.
Oh no. I'll go with falling, because then as I'm going down, oh shit, splat.
I always think falling would be quite, people do it by jumping out of airplanes. It'd be quite a fun thing to do. Just obviously it's a bit sad that you die at the end, but it's quite like a cool, I don't know. It's panoramically, scenically quite cool.
Yeah, it's a very scenic way to die.
It's my death. Ooh, this is a lovely panoramic view of the earth. I can't see it. I can't see that happening. Knowing that your parachute doesn't work if you even have one.
Yeah, not nice.
But I suppose being decapitated would mean I'm going to be decapitated, and I'm going to go that it's happened on a movie set in the French Revolution, where I'm playing a French aristocrat at Madame Guillotine.
Oh.
And then it's one of those things where, The Crow, where somebody actually gets murdered on set, and there's this whole thing, and then the true crime podcasts can go absolutely bonkers about it, and then there'll be a movie made about my death and a documentary series about it on Netflix.
And it's called Burn the Negative.
And it's yes, and then Amanda can come in as a serial killer who does the con circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can murder people on the true crime concert.
Yeah, you got to bring it back around.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there.
Maybe you're called Tina, so the film could be called Guillotina.
Yes,
something like that.
Happened.
Yeah,
it's happening. I mean, it's got to be a French name. We'll French it up, but it'll be Tina.
Christina.
Sure, yeah.
I love it. It's fantastic.
I was taught a French insult the other week, which apparently means down there bits, but in French it's not a bad thing to call. In England, you call someone a cunt and it's wrong, but in French, apparently it's nothing, and it's. Hopefully, I'm saying it right. Un patin. So when something happens, you go, oh, patin! So I spent a long time in the office the other week sitting next to the lady who taught me it, who speaks fluent French. I went, oh, patin! So,
is it kind of like going, oh, minge?
Oh, shit, but minge, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, minge. Quite like it.
Who
death.
doesn't like shouting minge in another language?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which death are you picking? Have you picked yet?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the bathtub because I quite like a bath.
But you're on fire.
Bath bomb drops in, it explodes. Napalm, death, fiery death.
Done. No, so it would be the death from the guest house movie, not in real life. Because in the movie she drowns in the bathtub, I think.
Yeah, in the TV it was a shower cubicle.
Yeah. So I would go for that one because it's the best, most peaceful, hopefully.
It's a warm bath. Just
you're nice and clean when they find you.
Yeah. Even if you pee yourself
Positives.
or poop your pants while you die.
Oh yeah.
You'll still be clean. Your bathwater won't, but you will.
Oh, yeah. I can just say this, when you get to see the pictures of those gorgeous claw-tubbed baths, and they're in picturesque picture windows, and your limbs are hanging over, and people get close and oh no, he's been burnt to death, and then all of a sudden you just see a little poop. Oh, it's so romantic, but
it is.
Yeah.
It's very classy.
It's very classy.
Actually, it's making me think of where is Mary? There she is. cover of Mary by Nat Cassidy.
Ah,
Yeah, it's
yes.
about a
Yeah.
dead body in a bathtub.
It's missing
Okay.
a poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the poop?
It's not visible.
It's underneath the body.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love it if they did put poop in there, but they didn't.
They did not put poop in there. Okay. And that brings us to the end of Would You Rather.
This is the longest one you've ever done.
Good place to end. I mean, it's probably my favorite one that we've done lately.
Oh.
Favorite final thought quote? What you got?
I'm going to give you 4.
Okay, go.
Hunting for the truth was essential to her life as her Winona Ryder DVD collection and Swedish rock on her Spotify. I think we can all say we have a DVD collection and a Spotify pot playlist that are our lifesavers.
Yes.
People in movies are insane.
Yeah.
No lie found. Sometimes a coincidence is just a coincidence. And sometimes murderers are excellent timekeepers. They'll live for anniversaries.
Ooh.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And the last one, which made me snort laugh, was, if you start masturbating with a crucifix, I'll run for coffee.
Yes.
It's probably my favourite line in the entire book.
Yeah. That's amazing.
What have you got?
I just have to say this one because everyone probably knows in real life how much I love Tina Fey. Dial it down, Tina Fey. Doesn't have anything to do with anything, but yes. I love Tina Fey. If you want to make a horror villain scary, arm them with something pointy. If you want to make them terrifying, make them human.
Nice.
It's amazing. Yes? No? I don't fucking know. We left reality behind 3 bodies ago. And finally, you make swearing sound like poetry.
Fuck yeah. Like a good curse.
If you liked this, try this. What are you going to suggest?
I'm going to suggest a book that I do quite fancy reading, but I haven't read myself, but I know superfans have, specifically Drew. And she said it was really, really good. And it's actually a non-fiction book. It's I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. And apparently the audiobook is very, very good as well. I'm not going to give you the full synopsis because it's like hella long. I'm just going to give you the top and tail of it. It's a heartbreaking and hilarious memoir by Carly and Sam and Cat star Jeanette McCurdy about her struggles as a former child actor, including eating disorders, addiction, and a complicated relationship with her overbearing mother, and how she retook control of her life.
By murdering
everyone. No tenuous links here. No tenuous links.
She didn't murder everyone?
She did. Well, we don't know. It's told with refreshing candour and dark humour. I'm Glad My Mom Died is an inspiring story of resilience, independence, and the joy of shampooing your hair. And possibly murdering people.
Possibly.
But I haven't read it, so I couldn't guarantee that she isn't a serial killer.
Yeah.
With an avenging angel bodyguard.
BFF.
Yes. What have you got?
I am going to suggest Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. And this is not a hashtag tenuous link at all, even though it begins with 30 years of time passing. 30 years after a tragic accident shut down production of the classic children's program Mr. Magic, the 5 surviving cast members have done their best to move on. But just as generations of cultishly devoted fans still cling to the lessons they learned from the show, the cast, known as the Circle of Friends, have spent their lives searching for the happiness they felt while they were on it. The friendship, the feeling of belonging, and the protection of Mr. Magic. Or the Needle Man. But with no surviving video of the show, no evidence of who directed or produced it, and no records of who or what the beloved host actually was, memories are all the former circle of friends has. Then a twist of fate brings the castmates back together at the remote desert filming compound that feels like it's been waiting for them all this time. Even though they haven't seen each other for years, they understand one another better than anyone has since. After all, they're the only ones who hold the secret of that circle, the mystery of the magic man in his infinitely black cape, and maybe the answers to what really happened on that deadly last day. But as the circle of friends reclaim parts of their past, they begin to wonder, are they here by choice? Or have they been lured into a trap? Ooh. This one's been on my TBR for a while.
That sounds good. Do we perhaps have any new Indie Spotlight this week?
Yes, we do. And I'm going to share how it was pitched to us and then read the summary. Okay, it's called The Lotus Flower Champion by Pentip Dunn and Love Dunn, and it comes out this month. Ooh. So it was pitched to us this way. The Lotus Flower Champion is a Squid Game meets Peter Pan with folktales from Thailand.
Okay, sold.
It's a YA fantasy thriller about a girl with OCD who is marooned with 11 other people on a remote island that looks like a paradise but feels like hell due to the machinations of a scientist desperate to unlock their latent psychic abilities. You know what? Maybe I should just leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it there.
Just leave it there. That's a seller right there. That doesn't need anything else.
Yeah. So everyone go and check that one out. It's either just come out or it's being released soon. I have conflicting information. Goodreads says it came out on October 3rd, but I think the pitch said it was coming out on Halloween, so it's out this month.
It sounds really good.
Yes.
I don't want to know. I feel like I don't need to know anything else to be interested.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Weir. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise. And become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok and YouTube at Fictional Hangover. And find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fictional Hangover. If you like this episode, check out our others and be sure to rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.